Now, probably around your way, you've seen a fantastic football mural. There's a wonderful one of the late, great Ray Clements that I saw recently. A wonderful one of Laurie Cunningham as well, in his England shirt. And there is West Ham have their own, Manchester United, of course, and all beautifully put together. And there is a new one. And it's in Tottenham. It features Ledley King, but it's been quite a process to get it up. It's not a matter of just rocking up with some paint. I probably thought that was the case anyway. But we're going to chat to a couple of people involved in it. Kicking off with from the Spurs Supporters Trust, somebody who was very involved in making this happen. Rob White, good afternoon, Rob.
Good afternoon, Paul. Nice to speak to you.
Yeah, good to talk to you. So I've seen pictures of it. Even Andy, as a Chelsea fan, was very impressed with it.
Yeah, it's great.
It does look brilliant. It's adorning a wall very close to the ground, but it's not been an easy process to make it happen. So tell us about some of the pitfalls, if there's anybody out there thinking of doing the same thing at their club.
Well, a bit like you, Paul, I thought naively it was a case of getting a wall, finding some money, getting a ladder, getting up the wall, and that was it. A couple of hours and it's done. But this project has been about 18 months in the pipeline. We've literally been round and round the houses on it. So it's everything from finding permission for a wall, finding funding, and then obviously finding the right person to put on that wall. So yeah, it's been a long journey, but I think if you've seen anybody that's seen it, will say it's been well worth the journey that we've been on.
The little things you don't kind of think about, like you can't have the road being blocked while someone's up on a ladder on that wall. You have to think about the inconvenience it has. As you say, you have to kind of get planning permission for it. So there's an awful lot of boxes to tick before you can even get on with the job.
Exactly, yeah. And I was sort of lucky when I started this process for the Supporters Trust. Ultimately for me, the idea was to be part of an ongoing process where we get more and more of these in the area. So I've learned an awful lot, and I was lucky enough to get introduced to Marc from MurWalls, who have done similar projects up and down the country, do fantastic work. We sort of put our heads together and have managed to achieve what we've achieved today. And it's a culmination. There's been a lot of people involved with it, Paul. So, yeah.
Yeah, Marc, we should have a chat with Marc Silver from MurWalls, the company that have done the work on this. Hi, Marc.
Hi, how you doing?
Yeah, good, thank you. I mean, so the way it tends to work is someone like the Supporters Trust, as Liverpool and other clubs or fans groups have done before, they come to you and give you the commission.
Yeah, each one's different, to be honest with you. Everyone has its own story and own reason for doing it. You mentioned Laurie Cunningham, you mentioned Ray Clements, and both of them were projects that we've actually done. And the Ray one was a particular special one because we worked together with Ray and his family to get that one up there for him to see before we sadly lost him. But yeah, this one's been a very interesting one.
Yeah.
How long did it take to do this? Because it's quite elaborate.
Yeah, we turned this run around in, 20 hours, I guess? Yeah, we turned this around pretty quickly.
Quick. Wow.
Not all at the same time, spread over a few days.
So I understand, Marc, you kind of like to keep the identity of the artists, the street artists who do it, sort of, you organise it, but you don't tend to put a name to the work. Is that right?
We got a whole team of artists, all different ones that work on different projects. We've got a core team, about 4 or 5. Our 2 main guys, Nasha and Mr. Mina, actually worked on this particular project.
Right, okay.
But it's the collaborative under the name MurWalls that are really putting this out there and doing all these amazing projects, large scale, around the country.
Rob, you think these are, you want to do more of these. Trying to tie the community to the club, I'm sure that's the key, isn't it? And that's why you've done it.
They don't all have to be the same size as this one, which is it's an enormous piece of work. But I think I think there's an importance in sort of helping the community understand more about the football club and helping the club understand more about the community. And I think all we've discovered is so much good feeling and goodwill from people that have seen this work going up, and obviously for such an inspirational player and an inspirational character as Ledley King. So I think it would be a really good thing to have, as many of these artworks as possible in the area. But as I say, not all. They don't all have to be that size, and they can help just tell the story of people like Bobby Buckle or Walter Tull or the guys from 61 or whoever, really. We're up for any ideas. If people want to come to us with ideas, and if they can help us find funding, we're more than up for looking at future projects.
What about an Ndombele one? That'd be quite
Well,
fun.
yes,
Andy, you have to get very slow drying paint.
we had about 10 people requesting that today, actually.
Yeah.
I'm guessing there's a bit of irony in there.
Yeah, I think
What does Ledley make of it? I think he's impressed, isn't he?
Yeah, well, I mean, the mission from us and from Spurs was to see if we can get Ledley King to cry, and apparently Ledley said this is the closest he's come to it. It was his emotions were there, but he absolutely loved it, and we're really proud to get that reaction from him. And he was here with his wife Amy, and they were just really happy with it.
It must be great for them. I mean, I'm looking at some of your other work, Mark, as well. One of the Marcus Rashford one. They've done the Jordan Henderson one, and the late in St
Quite
John
a few
as well.
Liverpool ones. Does that make it easier in Liverpool? Is there more space?
The thing is, you've got to remember, around by the grounds, you've got Liverpool fans living there.
Yeah.
So we get people calling us up all the time asking if we can paint their walls. So we don't have the same problem we had on this one, which is finding wall space. That was quite straightforward. And Liverpool, we're having that on a constant basis.
And Rob, did you have much resistance to this? Were there people in the local area that didn't want it up on the wall?
I think with any new project, there's going to be a degree of not necessarily resistance, just people not fully understanding what's trying to be achieved. And I think there's sometimes, maybe street art has got slightly, it can have a reputation with some people. But my feeling was, and I think Mark would echo this statement, is that it's sort of once this piece gets in place, people will understand what we were on about, and maybe people will come forward with suitable walls. And as I say, we don't necessarily need them all to be that size.
My journey to Tottenham's a lot easier than it is to Liverpool as well, so more local ones are good.
Nice one. Good to talk to you both. Thank you, Rob. Thank you, Mark.
Cheers.
Pleasure.
There we are, Rob White there from the Spurs Supporters Trust and Marc Silver from MurWalls. If you go and check out their website, they've got some amazing stuff on there, and you've probably seen some of it in your local area. But anyway.